Hello and welcome back to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. Last time we got ourselves capable of running, what was it? It's actually been a little bit, so I kind of forgot. I think it was just this biggest circuit assembler. So being able to run and create circuits at much higher speed as this parallelization of the large circuit assembler facility has allowed, as well as upgrading it to the LUV status, which will allow us to make better circuits here pretty soon, hopefully. But one of the things that we're going to need to get towards doing that is the Naquadah chains. And so we're going to have to get that started today. Don't know if we're going to get through all of it just because there is a lot. So let's go ahead and start looking at what we need to do first, which is titanium trifluoride. To do so, we need fluoroatomic acid, which I actually have some of this already made up using the antimonium trifluoride dust and the hydrofluoric acid. So it's made up in another area. We are going to start out with a chemical reactor, though. So we need that. We need an input. We need an input hatch and bus. And then a single output hatch. Good enough. Is that right? Now we need two output hatches and a output bus. We need one of our LUV energy hatches, otherwise we won't be able to actually run what we are doing there. And then we need... I guess I didn't grab out the chemically inert stuff. Hold on. Chemical. Also do 10 more sheets just in case the 16 is not enough. So we're going to go ahead and start over here. And the reason I want to start over here is that I can also make more of the fluoroatomic acid over here if I need to. I do want to start this way. So let's start on this side here. So we need our... I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 3. And then I guess we can do that. I do want our input there. We need our coil, pipe casing. Now let's do our input hatch and bus right over here. I like the idea of it being over here first, because it will circulate back into our system. Let's get our rail back out. Right there. Move the bus and the hatch over here. And then we need our outputs. So I do want these to be slightly separate. So we'll do that one there. Our output bus in the middle. And our output hatch. It looks like we should be able to. Did I actually not grab the block? Oh, no, I did. Didn't I? No, I didn't place it down, so I guess I didn't grab the chemical. Did I actually not make a chemical reactor block? Let's just get 2 more of those made up, I guess. I feel like I had one made up. Like, I am so lost at where that went. It's crazy. I have no idea where that went. But let's go ahead and get it hooked up to power right here. While we wait for those blocks. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Then I should have a bunch of maintenance blocks to pull out as well. So let's do that. Let us make the clippers there. And boom, and boom. Done. Okay, so now we just got to have our inputs over here. So this is where we need our storage. Can I not make more of those as well? Boy, I can't believe we are missing so much. Storage. Bus. Let's do like 10 more of those as well. Okay, well, I guess in the meantime, I can stand right here. Did I put it in this backpack? No, I put it in the other one. Our antimonium trioxide. So we got 40 of those to run through the system. So there's that. And now we just need that floor. That's why. You know, that would make a lot more sense there. We got hydrofluoric acid ready, so we do have to actually set up another one of these chemical reactors. So that's the one that we need these 2 items here for, as well as an HV input. So let's go grab an HV input, and we will start some transformers while we wait for those to be fully assembled. Give me a second. I will be right back, guys. Okay, so we are back, and I have been slowly assembling this up. We do have all of our transformers now, so we just have to wire those up properly. So we will go ahead and go one. That one next. And finally, this one. Should be able to just wire this into our system. And snip. And there we go. Right down in and to one of these. There's that. Okay. So we are wanting a output over here. It's going to go straight across. Which I grabbed one there. Okay. So one there. Then we will want one over here. I think this is our best spot. And then we're going to have to figure out getting our inputs back in. So 1 and 2. So for the storage bus, we'll put storage buses on all of... Actually, probably the only one I don't want it on is that one. Because that one I want to manually input Naquadah, as I don't want it to use it all because we do need some base Naquadah. If we do not have base Naquadah, there are a few things we cannot craft. And this is going to be extremely energy intensive, so I really do not want to be just, willy-nilly using whatever. We do need this output side to always be the fluoroatomic acid. The hydrogen that this recipe will make come out of the other one, which we can then use elsewhere. So we're going to leave that just like that. Let's go ahead and get the last of our blocks down. Put down our hatch. That is all set up now. So now we can put our antimonium trioxide directly into our system there. And let's go ahead and grab ourselves the hydrofluoric acid right there. We got a bunch of them. That's not the right button. Need a stainless steel one. Let's go ahead and put this away. Wait, where's my other vial? Make sure they're all together. I don't want to grab out the vials worth because those are a little bit more of a pain in the butt to do so. Plus, I kind of want to make sure that we can get through all of these. So we're going to go ahead and let that do what it can. Don't we need a number? Insufficient outputs item. What are you talking about? Output hatch, right there. Put it. There's no item that comes out. Put input. All right, you got me. I'm confused now. What do we do? There's no number. We've got two different hatches. This one's going to be the hydrogen. So, ooh. Let's go ahead and add an item output hatch. I don't know why it wants one, considering that we don't need one, but unless something janky's going on with the recipe. Insufficient outputs. What are you talking about? What did you just make? What? That's right. We got to make the antimonium trifluoride first. Yes. All right. Oh boy. See, I forgot this step. So I guess I will go ahead and do this repeatedly for a second. And I think we're out. Yep, now we got the antimonium trifluoride. Okay. So now I should be able to take this off. And the recipe to get this, we will be getting this through here, as well as pulling the stuff out. Oh. Honestly can't believe I forgot about that part. Thought I had it already because of that. But I am completely wrong. Let's get rid of that, though. So now we can put that in there. And we can let it run the rest of the way through. Make sure that we have our setup there. And then another amount there. Okay. So that's going to make a bit of our fluorometic acid. And this can go ahead and connect these up here. And then this is where we needed to put the storage bus. We might as well put ourselves a quartz cable down right there. Not there. Right there. Let's grab our wrench out and remove that first one, and then we can go ahead and go down below and make sure we're hooked into this system here. So I need one there, and this will allow us to pull from the system what we need to pull from the system. So done. Okay. Now let's grab ourselves an interface. And then we need to grab ourselves another interface right there and store our acid in there. Okay. So other interfaces. Let's make sure some more of those are crafted as well, because we are going to need plenty of those if we use those as piping here. So take that in. It's going to go directly over. And this is where we will introduce our Naquadah. So let's go ahead and introduce that now, just so that we have our chain started and we can kind of see it go as we work on it. So the next part we're going to need is we're going to want the outside, whatever this outside input's going to be. And that's actually fairly helpful for us, as no matter which one it is, I think it's this one? Yeah. So no matter which one it is, we always are going to centrifuge it. So I do have... Let's go ahead and bring the backpack over. That'll make it a little bit easier instead of having to run back and forth. We do have 2 of these elite centrifuges set up. So now we just are going to have to power it with the IV power from over here. So let's go ahead and run a cable underneath the 2 here, directly from our box there. So we'll place that one there, and then I guess I forgot to wait for half a second while I do this, but we'll wire it up, and then we can place our machine on top of the wire. So we can even pick this one up to make it a little bit easier for the both of them, just because that will also automatically connect the wires. And so now we just are going to have to pipe out those. The temperature is fine for either one of those, and there is no worry about, what's it called? I do want to change this just so we can pipe up and over and then directly into the back of those machines there. So let's go ahead and reattach these wires in a different manner. And then we can add a pipe directly in. Okay. So that means these polyethylene fluid pipes will work just fine. So let's go ahead and pipe 1 and 2 and down, and 1 and 2 and down. And then we can just wrench those into place. Oh. The output's going to be on the front for one of them. And actually, we do need to change this machine's orientation to be this way. Otherwise, we're going to have some major problems. So we want each one of these, when centrifuged, are going to produce 2 items and a liquid. The items themselves are going to get piped back over that way. So we could have them come out the top and come directly over. So let's do that. Top, side, top, and side. Okay, so that's going to produce our indium phosphate. That one's going to produce our trinium. This one is the enriched. So let's make sure this one always is the enriched. And make sure this one is always the Naquadah. As that is the one important key component with all of this. And then that can now be split up into their next parts. So I think our next most important one, I think all of them are actually used in the same next part here. So this is where it's going to lead into a little bit of fun. So this hydrogen does have to get pumped out. Let's see. Indium phosphide. So we need ourselves some interfaces here. We need to wire it up into this direct system here. One across. Boom, boom, boom. Just like so. And we do want to wire directly into this subsystem. And before we get much further, let's go ahead and recolor this to a subsystem color. Just before we forget about it. And there we go. Okay. So as you'll notice, the antimonium trifluoride dust actually has gone back through. We are now awaiting the output for those. And we have one problem. I have no clue where that sulfide has gone. Probably somewhere into a storage system, I would assume. Especially since the thing is backwards. Silly me. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Switch it around because this is supposed to be a storage bus. And the other one's supposed to be an interface. So we need our items back. So we need the titanium tetrafluoride is still there. So we just need the other items. So where is the... We need sulfides. So we have 4 there. What was the other one? Phosphide. Okay. Phosphide. We need both of these. Okay, so let's get the titanium one set up first. This is a important first one to get set up. As soon as that one is set up, we can actually have the system start to recycle some of the hydrofluoric acid. So we need ourselves the proof facing blocks. We need the electric blast furnace. We need our input, and then it also needs an input. We need both a bus and hatch, and then when smelted, it will produce ourselves a hot ingot, which can be cooled in the main system. So we will let that go back through to the main system. And then we'll get hydrofluoric acid, which we want to make sure is stored right in there. So let's get our storage bus on there first, allowing us to store the hydrofluoric acid directly in there. And we will actually notice that it should turn on. No? No. Okay, we're good. I do want this to a higher priority, just so that it will grab from the machine before going out. Let's go ahead and recolor that one cable, and we will put our next machine right down here. So this is always fun with these ones because you do have to have the inputs and outputs on either the bottom or the top with a blast furnace. So let's go ahead and get the rest of the blocks placed first, and then we can do our inputs. I like to do the inputs on the bottom and the outputs on the top. So we'll just do that right there, and then I think we actually want to do them on the top, all on the top, because we want our energy inputs to be able to carry across the back there. So let's get that chemically inert stuff put away. So we do need ourselves a energy hatch. So we'll get the energy hatch down first. And that one will go right there. We'll put our other two casings. 1, 2. We'll get we got our block down. We got to get our hatch like always. Now we got to grab out ourselves some coils. So we need 16 for one of these. So let's grab that out. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we can do the top casing, which is going to be like that. And I guess I forgot mufflers, but I have a few of those still left over from ripping apart those previous, what are they called over there? The EV combustion engines I had before. And now we can do our inputs, which I will do just a little broken apart so that we can manage them a little bit better. We'll do those two there, and then we'll do our, wait, that's our output. We don't want the output there. We want the output on the back. Inputs. Okay, and our outputs on the back. One output, where is the other one? A hatch, don't we? Did I didn't grab it out, did I? Output bus, output hatch. There we go. Okay, and output. And then we need our storage bus. We're going to need those interfaces now. So let's convert those over. And we need our interface 1, 2. Our casing to finish that up. Did I forget? Oh. Hold on. I want to make sure it runs really well. We're going to make sure it has multiple hatches. Oh, that's funny. Okay, and now this is where the part comes to change. We need ourselves a hydrogen storage bus. And we need it to store our hydrogen from this system. So let's go ahead and just put that there. Grab half of this out. Say I want my titanium trifluoride, and we want our hydrogen. Those are the two things we're going to want in there. And we can now hook this directly into our system, or subsystem. And we should see, oh, it would help if and we're also going to want to increase the priority just so it doesn't end up storing somewhere else. And there we go. Let's go ahead and repaint these. That is now empty. That is now full of them. And repaint for the sake of no miscommunication and understanding where things are at. And we can add that. Boom. Repaint. And we've got our hydrogen gas in there. So now we just need to hook up our LUV power to it. I think this is the last one we should hook up to this system too. Otherwise, we'll have an issue where we'll be running too much power to it. We could hook up one more, I guess, but... Oh, wow, that was... Did I already finish? Insufficient item inputs. Yeah, it did already finish. So... we should have a hot ingot in there, and then we have our hydrofluoric acid. Give me just a second, guys. All right, we're back, and I just have to hook up those cables. And now, the machine below me should continue to go. Empty out and put away that water cell. And there is our first little loop. And we'll see that kind of go through for a second. Now, here is the problem. We do not produce enough to keep cycling that system through, because this requires to make 4 to be able to do our recipe. Whereas we're only going to get back 3 each time. So, that will eventually run out. We do have... what's the next step? We got that titanium trifluoride done. So that is the entirety of that process. And then the best part is... yes, we do want to add one thing in here that I forgot. So we want ourselves a export bus. So let's go ahead and do that. We will place that down right there. And let's do that titanium. We want the hot titanium ingot in there, as that's going to leave the system to go get processed elsewhere entirely. So... oh, we can't do that. Hold on. Be right back. Alright, we got that switched around. And now it is time to set up a second one for our next part. Yes, we're doing... so it's the Trinium. This is the part that we need the most. So we do want that set up to allow us to take that. I think our best bet, so we actually really don't have to worry about this, is to hook up both of these batteries, as each of these batteries can only output 4, but our amperage accepted through these cables is 8. So, okay, as the most important part for us to progress is the Trinium, we're going to go ahead and get that set up really quick. So, the Trinium, oh, I guess I have it in the inventory, you can do that. The Trinium there requires us to add zinc into the system. We will get zinc sulfide, which we can then end up... what is it called? We can send it back out to an electrolyzer and then have it run through that. So we need ourselves 2? We need input and output? 2 inputs, 2 outputs. So one thing we can do is we can actually interchange those for LUVs. LUV, input and output. Not LUV, what am I talking about? LV. 1 and an input. Okay, we got ourselves the input and output. We just need to put those down with a additional one of these now. And I just realized if I shift that over, we can actually share multi-block stuff. I don't really like that. Let's not do that. I know it makes things a little bit cheaper, but I don't care enough to concern myself with making it cheaper to then having to make sure I manage where inputs and outputs are. Especially since we have the materials now, it's not like it's going to kill us to have the separate multi-blocks. So now we need our coils and we need our LUV hatch. So there's our hatch. There's our coils. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. And bring our wire down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wire it on in, and then finish the multi-block structure. So, you're going to want not that there. 4, and then we get our inputs and outputs on the top here. So our input is going to be there, so we'll put our storage bus on that. And then our output will be right here with our interface on that. So now we're going to grab our 2 items that we need. So we need the trinium sulfide, and then we need zinc. So zinc, dust. Okay. I don't know why I wasn't typing. Zinc. And our zinc dust is right there. And then we'll go ahead and grab our zinc sulfide dust. And let's send it out of the system to go electrolyze somewhere else. ME interface. Not interface. Zinc sulfide will go there. And then we will make sure that our zinc goes into here as well. Yeah, that's going to be our best bet. Zinc. And then we'll change this to priority 1. So that... Oh, that means we want 2 of those. So let's go ahead and get a new set of input buses. Because if we don't have 2 separate buses, we'll have an issue where one will get clogged. So we don't want both inputs there. We want one. And we'll take this one out and put the second one here. Wrench. Okay, storage bus. We want our zinc. And then we'll put the other one down over here. And this one can be our trinium. So now we can go ahead and say 1, 2, 3. And I guess it would actually be better. Storage bus interface. The storage bus. So that means it would be better for us to not, or I guess it is already storing the zinc there. So now if I grab this out, so fill up with zinc dust. So the answer is no. We can craft up some though. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's craft up like just a full flat 64. As that will immediately get sucked into here when it is done. And there it goes. Okay. Need our muffler. Muffler. Right there. We will need one more. So let's go ahead and make sure we have that out too. And now we can just place down our block there. And we can put the trinium sulfide there. And you will see as it comes out. How long does these take? 38. So then we're going to get the hot trinium ingots. Now here is the only problem that I believe we have with running that anywhere. Is that you need IV power to run that. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need a way to send over our hot ingots into here. So let's go ahead and have ourselves an export bus. Not this one. Let's go ahead and look at the export buses again, because I forgot how it is we craft ourselves that. So we need a tag filter. Can I auto-craft the tag filter? Tag. No, I can't. Okay. Filter. So I can't make that one. I can't make that. Ooh, we don't have any more of either of those? Do we have any emeralds? Am I out of emeralds and olivine? That is not a good sign. No, I got plenty of emeralds. Let's go ahead and take those over to get chopped up in the saw. And while that works, let's go right there. And those should be... Ooh. Let's grab out that lubricant. And we'll dump it back in when we're done. Yeah, pretty fast stuff. And there we go. Okay. So those are done. We can now craft up some of those tag filters. Or at least one of those. And change this to a tag export bus. Okay. Because we want this to export all of our hot ingots. So, asterisk hot underscore what underscore ingots. Right? Yep. And then we will actually want to remove the other one. So let's go ahead and take ourselves the interface. Place it down so that we get our storage bus there. Can't. Oh, that's not it. Huh. So we're going to want like a storage bus there. Right? Yes, that's what we want. And then I guess the best thing to actually do would be to just place a double chest if I can do that. Do I have any chests? Can I make the chest automatically? Sweet. Okay. A little bit worried because I was thinking about it. I'm like, that's going to be a pain in the butt to try to move it over to, but not with a handy friend of the original Minecraft chest. So, now with that... Uh-oh. Where did it go? Where did it go? Don't tell me it already exported somewhere. Where did it go? I'm lost. They should still... They're right there. Okay, let's go remove the other one, which is right over here. So that rather than it automatically exporting out of the system, I don't think we need a machine. Need this machine anymore then. Yeah, no, we won't need that machine after this. That's fine. That's actually better for us. So we don't have that issue. And we can actually move that over here to help run in parallel later on. But now we can go ahead and accept the hot Trinium ingot, as that one should be running off of IV tier. Let's double check the machine itself. Yep. And we should be able to send that back via the storage bus. And then if we come back over, we should see it working. Maybe? Okay, well, it went in there. But not... Oh, you know, because... There we go. We are now processing our trinium. Oh boy. I do think with the length of this episode will be, if I continue this, it is a good idea for me to save the rest of the Naquadah chains for another episode. As we still need, I guess we could do one more part, which is the... Oh, we need to go ahead and send the zinc to an electrolyzer, so we get our zinc dust back, but... Electrolyzer. Zinc sulfide is going to be coming from this one. Use that. It can go in an LUV. So let's just go ahead and put that into one. I guess like right over here somewhere would probably be pretty good. So LUV electrolyzer. As there is no other reason for a different one. Let's go ahead and get ourselves an interface right there. The best part, that is probably your best one to be honest, but I just realized that's not going to really work the way we want it to. Well, we can put our zinc sulfide in. Allow, and then let's get ourselves a module. Just like, do I still have one in here? I do. So we can add that there. We can import, and then it'll just go ahead and do its thing, electrolyzing our zinc, sending out the outputs. Why did you... Oh no, we don't want that. So... I guess I can put a filter on that. That'll be fine. And we can have it only filter the input. I think this is going to be the first time I'm actually going to use that filter part right. Other than that, I've not used that, like, weird filter setting very well. So, we do only want zinc sulfide. Only move a specified by the cover towards its filter. And be extracted or inserted independently of the cover mode as long as its filter matches, if any. No. Will only move as specified by the cover and its filter. No. guess there's only way to test that out is to get some more hydrofluoric acid in the system. If we can even manage that. Looks like we'll be fine if I do so. Let's go ahead and grab out some more hydrofluoric acid. The rest of what we made, in fact. So right there. And then that should give us a good test to make sure that that's working. We'll take a moment to get through all of it, but let's go ahead and it is quite interesting how much of a process it is for all of this stuff. But such is the nature of Gregtech. So let us finish repainting these so that those are taken care of. And now we will see. Those will go off. This is going to be the most interesting part, because once we get to this stuff, we'll actually have to loop stuff back into the system to make more hydrofluoric acid. Okay, so there's our hot trinium ingot. So let's go back over, because we're going to get our zinc sulfide. And we want to see this thing happen and make sure it actually extracts. Should come back over any second now. And if it doesn't work, I will just slap another interface on, because why would I? Actually, I could put an export and then have the zinc and sulfur. Okay, yep, that works. We're good. All done. And so that is only part of the Naquadah chains. We will, like I said, have to finish that up in another video, as there is a lot more to get going. We have to do one more of these blast furnaces to X out. Is it which one was it? The indium. So we'll get some more indium, which is going to be good, as well as we need to then take care of the Naquadah solutions, which requires separate things in and of themselves. So I would like to thank you all for watching, and please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, especially if this helped you out. I don't know how well it's going to help out, but especially this spaghetti mess. Anyways, thank you for watching, and you guys have a great day. Bye!